I want to talk about replacing the speakers in a 95 Jeep YJ. Now, there's two pieces of information on this. I bought speakers from Crutchfield, and the instructions there were to remove the 3 bolts holding the windshield in place and the 3 bolts holding that metal shield in place. They then tell you to bend that metal shield back. Reach behind, take the old speaker out, put the new speaker in. Well, that metal shield right there is pretty solid and strong. And my concern was, if I bent that, would I be able to put it back into the correct position, or would I really bend it out of shape? The Chilton manual also tells you to reach behind without removing those bolts and remove the speaker and put the new one in its place. Well, my hands are fairly large, as I'm sure most guys are, and even if you're not a guy, you're doing this. It's very difficult to get your hand behind there to be able to pull those speakers out. The second part of it is there is a 1-inch long, I think it is a number 6 bolt that is attached to the back of that panel. And depending on how the speakers were put in, mine were with clips. Virtually impossible to get your fingers on there to be able to get those clips off. The other side, the driver's side, you do the same thing with removing the windshield bracket and the brackets around the bolts around the shield, and then Clint Chilton tells you to remove the parking brake assembly, and again reach behind. But I'll go back to that statement, my hands would not fit back there. So I followed the method kind of closely. First, I did remove all of these bolts. The second thing, though, is I went and I removed, let's pull this down, the bolts holding my roll cage in place. I did that on both sides. That allowed me to drop the front windshield forward on its hinge. When you do that, you're exposing bolts that are right underneath this area right here. I believe there are 5 of them. When you remove those 5, and you have already removed these over here, it allows you to pull the whole dash away from the body, giving you full access to the speakers on both sides. So that's my little tip. As I said, it's a lot easier, I found it a lot easier to just remove the bolts, drop the windshield, pull the speakers out, and put the new ones in. You'll also find if you're doing any kind of work behind the dash, as I did here, I replaced all of the lights, the bulbs on the dash with red LEDs. That's a very simple process. All of the screws holding those covers in place are readily accessible, so that comes out very, very simple. And of course, those screws should just be put right back in place, and it ends up in a very neat job. So overall, easiest method I found: pull the bolts, drop the windshield, replace the speakers, put everything back together, and you're good to go.